Her eyes met his through the reflection in the mirror, and in that frozen moment, both their worlds shifted irrevocably. If you've ever believed that fate works in mysterious ways, this story will confirm what you already know. Sometimes life's most profound changes begin with its most awkward moments. Marcus Walsh clutched his portfolio tighter as he navigated the gleaming hallways of Horizon Enterprises. At 34, with premature gray streaking his temples and permanent shadows beneath his eyes, he looked older than his years. The weight of single parenthood and financial struggle had carved lines into his once carefree face. "You can do this," he whispered to himself, rehearsing his pitch one last time. After being laid off from his marketing position 6 months ago, this meeting represented more than just a potential contract. It was his last hope before he'd have to sell the small house he and his daughter Emma called home. The receptionist had directed him to the executive floor, explaining that Ms. Reynolds, the CEO, was running late from another meeting but had instructed him to wait in her office. "She'll be with you shortly," the woman had said with a practiced smile. Marcus checked his watch, 2:45 p.m. He needed to wrap this up by 4 o'clock to pick up Emma from her after-school program. His daughter had already endured enough disruption since her mother walked out 3 years ago. The last thing he wanted was to be late again. The CEO's office was intimidating in its understated elegance. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city, and minimalist furniture in muted tones created an atmosphere of calm authority. Marcus sat on the edge of a sleek chair, arranging his materials on the glass coffee table. After 15 minutes of anxious waiting, he stood to stretch his legs. The stress of the past months had manifested as a persistent knot between his shoulder blades. He walked to the window, gazing at the city below, wondering how many other parents were fighting similar battles, trying to stay afloat while keeping their children's world stable. A soft click from behind startled him. Assuming it was Ms. Reynolds, he turned with his practiced smile, ready to make his introduction. Instead, he found himself facing a partially open door that connected to what appeared to be a private bathroom. Through the gap, he caught a glimpse of a woman, clearly Ms. Reynolds, with her back to him, changing her blouse. Her silk shirt was halfway off, revealing the curve of her shoulder and the elegant line of her spine. Marcus froze, mortified. He should look away. He should announce his presence. He should do anything but stand there, paralyzed by embarrassment. Before he could react, she turned slightly, catching his reflection in the bathroom mirror. Their eyes met, his wide with horror, hers narrowing in shock. Time suspended between them. Then several things happened at once. Marcus spun around, stammering apologies. There was the rustle of fabric, a muttered curse, and the bathroom door slammed shut. "I'm so sorry," he called out, his voice cracking. "The receptionist told me to wait here. I had no idea, I wasn't." The bathroom door opened again, and Alexis Reynolds emerged, now fully dressed in a crisp white blouse. At 40, she commanded attention not just through her position but through her presence, tall, with dark hair pulled back in a severe bun, and eyes that seemed to evaluate everything they saw with clinical precision. "Mr. Walsh, I presume?" Her voice was cool, professional, betraying nothing of the awkwardness that hung in the air. "Yes. I'm so sorry about that. I should have." She raised a hand, cutting him off. "Let's just move past it. I understand you have a marketing proposal for us?" Marcus nodded, grateful for the redirect but still burning with embarrassment. As he fumbled with his portfolio, a photo slipped out, Emma at her recent science fair, beaming beside her project on renewable energy. He quickly tucked it away, but not before Ms. Reynolds noticed. "Your daughter?" she asked, her tone softening slightly. "Yes. Emma. She's 9. He hadn't meant to get personal, but something in the CEO's expression had shifted. "She looks bright." Ms. Reynolds gestured to the chairs. "Let's see what you've brought us, Mr. Walsh." The meeting proceeded professionally, though Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that Ms. Reynolds was studying him with unusual intensity. He presented his ideas for revitalizing Horizon's community outreach program, emphasizing authentic connection over corporate platitudes. "Your approach is refreshingly honest," she said when he finished. "Most agencies try to sell us glossy campaigns that look good in boardrooms but fail to resonate with real people." "I believe people can sense authenticity," Marcus replied. "Especially now, when everyone's struggling in different ways." Something flickered across her face, recognition, perhaps. "And how are you struggling, Mr. Walsh?" The question caught him off guard. "I'm sorry." "You speak from experience." "I'm curious about your perspective." Marcus hesitated. This wasn't how business meetings typically went, but he sensed that his usual professional distance wouldn't serve him here. "Balancing work and single parenthood isn't easy," he admitted. "Especially when the work part has been inconsistent lately." She nodded, her expression unreadable. "Thank you for your candor. We'll be in touch about your proposal by the end of the week." As Marcus gathered his materials, he checked his watch, 3:50 p.m. He'd need to hurry to reach Emma's school on time. "You have somewhere to be?" Ms. Reynolds asked, noticing his concern. "School pickup. My daughter." "Of course." She walked him to the door, then paused. "Mr. Walsh, that moment earlier, let's consider it never happened." "Absolutely," he agreed, relief washing over him. But as he hurried to his car, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that something significant had transpired in that office, something beyond the embarrassing encounter or even the business proposal. There had been a moment of genuine connection, brief but undeniable. Little did he know that Alexis Reynolds was thinking the same thing. 3 days later, Marcus received the call he'd been hoping for. Horizon Enterprises wanted to move forward with his proposal, offering a 6-month contract with the possibility of extension. The advance payment would be enough to catch up on his mortgage and give him breathing room for the first time in months. What he didn't expect was the additional request. Ms. Reynolds wanted him to work directly with her on the project, starting immediately. The following Monday, Marcus arrived at Horizon with mixed emotions. Financial relief warred with anxiety about facing Ms. Reynolds again. Would the awkwardness of their first meeting hang between them? Would she treat him with the cool professionalism she'd shown after the incident, or would there be lingering discomfort? He was escorted to a conference room where Alexis Reynolds sat alone, reviewing documents. She looked up when he entered, and Marcus was struck by how different she appeared in this setting, less severe, with her hair loosely pulled back and a more approachable expression. "Mr. Walsh, thank you for coming in on short notice." "Thank you for the opportunity," he replied, settling into the chair she indicated. "I'm looking forward to getting started. Before we do, I want to be clear about something." She closed the folder before her. "I selected your proposal not because of our unusual introduction, but despite it. Your ideas stood on their own merits." Marcus felt a weight lift from his shoulders. "I appreciate that." "Good. Now, I've been thinking about your approach to community connection. I'd like to expand it beyond what we initially discussed." For the next 2 hours, they worked together, building on Marcus's original concept. He found himself surprised by her insight and genuine interest in reaching the communities Horizon served. The corporate ice queen he'd expected was nowhere to be found. As they wrapped up, Alexis glanced at the time. "You probably need to pick up your daughter soon. Actually, she has chess club today. I have another hour." Alexis nodded, then seemed to make a decision. "Would you join me for coffee? There's something I'd like to discuss that's not on today's agenda." Curious, Marcus followed her to a small cafe in the building's atrium. Once they were seated with their drinks, Alexis's professional demeanor softened slightly. "I've been reviewing your background, Mr. Walsh." "Marcus, please." "Marcus." She nodded. "Your work history is impressive. Creative director at Pinnacle for 5 years, then senior marketing manager at Blue Sky until their downsizing. What I don't understand is why someone with your credentials is pitching freelance projects instead of holding an executive position somewhere. The question probed at tender places. Marcus stirred his coffee, considering how much to share. Life took an unexpected turn, he finally said. When my ex-wife left, Emma was 6. She'd already lost one parent from her daily life. I couldn't bear for her to lose time with the other because of a demanding corporate schedule. Understanding dawned in Alexis's eyes. So you scaled back. I tried to find balance. Blue Sky was accommodating until the pandemic hit and budgets tightened. As the newest senior manager, I was the first to go. He shrugged, attempting nonchalance. Freelancing gives me flexibility for Emma, but the inconsistency has been challenging. Alexis was quiet for a moment, studying him with an intensity that made him wonder what she was looking for. I have a proposition for you, she finally said. One that might solve both our problems. I'm listening. Horizon needs someone to oversee our community initiatives and marketing, someone who understands authentic connection. The position would report directly to me, with considerable autonomy and flexibility. Marcus blinked, surprised. You're offering me a job? I'm offering you the opportunity to create your own position. Hours that accommodate your parenting responsibilities, with compensation that reflects your experience and value. It sounded too good to be true. Why me? You must have hundreds of qualified candidates. Alexis set down her cup. Because in our brief interaction, you've shown me something rare in this industry, genuine humanity. Your proposal didn't just outline strategies, it demonstrated understanding of real people's needs. That's what Horizon requires right now. Marcus felt a surge of hope, quickly tempered by practicality. I appreciate the offer, but I need to understand what this would mean for Emma. There would be times when I'd need to leave early, work from home. I'm not interested in where you work, only in the results you deliver, Alexis interrupted. Create the schedule that allows you to be the father your daughter needs. The offer was everything Marcus had been searching for, yet he hesitated. May I ask why this matters to you? This level of accommodation isn't typical in corporate environments. Something vulnerable flickered across Alexis's face, so briefly Marcus almost missed it. Let's just say I understand the importance of being present for family, she said quietly. Think about it. We can discuss details later this week. As they parted ways, Marcus felt as though he'd glimpsed something beneath the CEO's polished exterior, a hint of a story as complex as his own. Marcus accepted the position, and over the following weeks, he discovered that Alexis Reynolds was a woman of her word. The flexibility she promised materialized, allowing him to attend Emma's school events and be home when she needed him, while still contributing meaningfully to Horizon's initiatives. What he hadn't anticipated was how closely he would work with Alexis herself. Their collaboration evolved from formal meetings to comfortable brainstorming sessions, often extending into early evenings when Emma had activities. Marcus found himself looking forward to these times, drawn to Alexis's sharp mind and unexpected moments of humor that cracked through her professional veneer. One evening, as they reviewed community feedback on their latest initiative, Alexis noticed Marcus checking his phone repeatedly. Everything all right? She asked. Emma's running a slight fever. The sitter says it's nothing serious, but... Go, Alexis said immediately. We can finish this tomorrow. Marcus gathered his things gratefully. Thank you for understanding. It's what any decent employer would do, she replied, but there was something in her tone that suggested the sentiment ran deeper than professional courtesy. When he reached the door, she called after him. Marcus? Let me know how she's doing. The request surprised him. It crossed the line from professional to personal in a way Alexis had carefully avoided until now. I will, he promised. Later that night, after settling Emma with medicine and her favorite stuffed rabbit, Marcus texted Alexis a brief update. He didn't expect a response, especially at 10:30 p.m., but his phone chimed almost immediately. Children are resilient, but it never gets easier to see them unwell, her message read. I hope you both get some rest. The simple text revealed more than all their professional interactions combined. There was knowledge in those words, personal experience that contradicted what Marcus knew about Alexis. According to company profiles and the occasional media piece, she was unmarried and childless, dedicated entirely to her career. The next day, Emma's fever broke, and Marcus returned to work with renewed curiosity about the woman who had unexpectedly changed his professional trajectory. But Alexis maintained her usual professional distance, giving no indication of the momentary connection their late-night texts had created. It was 2 weeks later, during a community event at a local school, that the carefully constructed boundaries between them began to dissolve. Horizon was launching an educational initiative, providing technology and mentorship to underserved schools. Marcus had brought Emma along, partly because his sitter was unavailable, but mostly because he wanted her to see the impact of work that helped others. He was supervising the setup when he spotted Alexis across the gymnasium, kneeling to speak with a young girl who appeared to be about Emma's age. There was a gentleness in her interaction that he'd never witnessed before, a natural ease that contradicted her typically reserved demeanor. Emma tugged at his sleeve. "Dad, can I go look at the robots?" "Stay where I can see you," he cautioned, watching as she darted toward the technology display. Moments later, he noticed Alexis approaching, her expression softening as she watched Emma examining the robotics demonstration. "Your daughter seems fascinated," she observed. "She wants to be an engineer," Marcus explained. "Or a veterinarian. Or possibly a ninja. It changes weekly." Alexis laughed, a genuine sound that transformed her face. "The world needs more female ninjas. That's what I tell her." Marcus hesitated, then added, "You're good with children. I noticed you talking with that little girl earlier." Something guarded returned to Alexis's expression. "Part of the job." It seemed more natural than that. She met his gaze directly. "Perhaps another time, Marcus." The moment was interrupted by Emma running back to them, eyes bright with excitement. "Dad! They have a robot that can solve mazes. Can we build one at home?" Marcus laughed. "We might need to start with something simpler, Em." Emma noticed Alexis then, suddenly shy. "Are you my dad's boss?" "Emma," Marcus began, but Alexis smiled. "I'm your dad's colleague," she corrected gently. "We work together. I'm Alexis. I'm Emma Walsh. I'm 9 3/4. It's a pleasure to meet you, Emma Walsh, who is 9 3/4. Your father talks about you all the time." Emma beamed. "He talks about you too. He says you're brilliant but scary sometimes." "Emma." Marcus felt heat rise to his face. Alexis raised an eyebrow, amusement playing at the corners of her mouth. "Brilliant but scary? I'll take that as a compliment." The event proceeded smoothly, but Marcus couldn't help noticing how Alexis kept finding reasons to circle back to where Emma was exploring the exhibits, engaging her with questions and genuine interest. By the end of the afternoon, his daughter had declared Ms. Reynolds not scary at all and extracted a promise to show her the big boss office sometime. As they were packing up, Alexis approached him again. "Your daughter is remarkable. Perceptive, curious, she asks excellent questions. She gets the curiosity from her mother," Marcus said. "The stubborn determination is all me, unfortunately. I'd call it persistence rather than stubbornness. It served you well." Alexis paused, seeming to debate something internally. "Would you and Emma like to join me for dinner? There's a casual place nearby with excellent mac and cheese, according to my niece." The invitation caught Marcus off guard. "You have a niece? Is that so surprising?" "No, he stopped himself. "Dinner would be nice. Thank you." The restaurant was indeed casual, a family-friendly bistro with crayons on the tables and a menu that catered to both adult tastes and children's simpler preferences. Emma, Initially shy, warmed up quickly when Alexis asked about her science projects and listened with genuine interest to her detailed explanation of renewable energy. "You know a lot about science," Emma observed, studying Alexis with the direct